A tubular edge is common in many store-bought knit garments. It's a beautiful and professional edge, and the best part about it is that it's stretchy without being too stretchy, doesn't look sloppy, and it's something that you can do at home with your own knitting. There are several ways to make a tubular edge, but my favorite is the long tail tubular cast-on, which is what I used for this sweater. It works with knit 1, purl 1 ribbing, or with knit 2, purl 2, as I've shown here. The long tail tubular cast-on starts just like the long tail cast-on. Measure out a tail that's about 3.5 times longer than the width of what you're knitting. Make a slip knot and place it on your needle. Make sure that slip knot is tightened, but not too tight. Then you will separate the two tails. The one connected to the ball of yarn will be over your index finger, and the shorter tail will be over your thumb. Rotate your needle to the working or neutral position, and you're ready to begin. Usually, you'll want to start the long tail tubular cast-on with a purl stitch after your initial slip knot cast-on stitch. To do this, rotate the needle away from you, then towards you, so that you pick up a stitch from the thumb loop. As you rotate it back away from you, back into the neutral position, the index finger yarn will cross over and lock into place. That creates what looks like a purl stitch. To make a knit stitch, you'll rotate the needle under the thumb loop and then wrap the index finger loop around the needle and lock it into place with the thumb loop. That's created what looks like a knit stitch. You'll repeat these two steps for as many stitches as you need, being careful to not twist the stitches on the needle. Purl, knit, purl, knit. Again, to make a purl stitch, rotate the needle under both strands, pick up the thumb strand, and wrap or lock into place with the index finger yarn. To make a knit stitch, dip the needle under just the thumb strand, wrap the index finger strand over, and lock into place with the thumb strand. Purl, knit, purl, knit. I'm going to finish with a purl stitch so that I have an even number of stitches. I now need to work my foundation rows. Since this was a purl stitch on the other side, it's now presented as a knit stitch. I'm holding that strand out of the way, and I'm going to knit it. Now, slip one with yarn in front and knit the next stitch. Slip one with yarn in front. Knit one. I'm going to do this all the way across. Slip one with yarn in front. Any stitches that present to me as a purl, and knitting any stitch that presents to me as a knit. Once I've completed the first setup row, I'm going to turn the work again and repeat that same action on the second row. Knit, slip one with yarn in front, knit one, slip one with yarn in front, knit one, slip one with yarn in front. We're creating a little tube of knitting, or double knitting, if you will, and that is what creates that beautiful tubular edge. If your pattern calls for knit one, purl one ribbing, you're ready to go after completing the 2 setup rows. If, however, you prefer the look of knit 2, purl 2 ribbing, you need to complete 1 more setup row. This is essentially cabling the stitches so that there's 2 knits together and then 2 purls together. I'll show you what I mean. My first stitch is a knit stitch, so I'll knit that. My next stitch is a purl stitch, and I want it to be a knit stitch. So I'm going to slip it off the needle and hold it between my thumb and my forefinger. And then I'm going to knit the next stitch. And then I'm going to slip that purl stitch back onto the needle, and I'm ready to purl it and its new neighbor so that you have 2 purls next to each other. My next stitch is a knit stitch, so I'll knit it. And then my next stitch is a purl stitch, so I'll slip it off the needle, hold it between my thumb and index finger, knit the next stitch, put that purl stitch back on the needle, and purl 2. And I'm going to do this all the way across. Knit 1, hold the purl stitch, knit 1, slip the purl stitch back on the needle, purl 2. If you prefer to use a cable needle, you can absolutely do that. I just find it slows me down a little bit, and I don't want to have to hunt down a cable needle. After you've performed this final setup row, your stitches might look a little funny because they're kind of pushing each other around, making those cables. But as you start to knit, they will settle into place and you'll have a beautiful professional edge.